Hey everybody, this is Scott. Welcome to my workshop here in Ventura, California. So today I'm going to be building a driftwood picture frame for a painting that I recently finished. This is the painting right here. Now, normally when I build a driftwood picture frame, the pieces have quite a bit of unevenness to them, and they're not perfectly straight. As you can see, there's some curves here and here, quite a bit of unevenness down the side and on the bottom. But from end to end, for the most part, they're fairly straight. Not perfectly straight, but I can mount a canvas in this without a problem. So I started thinking about this painting, and I was thinking I want to build a frame that really brings this painting to life. So the trees on this painting are really curved and twisted. So what I thought I would do is I would find some wood with more curves and twists to them than what I normally use when I build a picture frame. So I found this piece right here. Now, normally when I'm looking through my wood and looking for pieces to build frames out of, I don't pick pieces with this much of a curve to them. But what I thought I would do is mount this piece on the top and then find pieces that are curved for the sides and for the bottom. So normally you don't see picture frames like this, and I don't think I've ever built a picture frame with pieces that are this curved before. So I figured I'd challenge myself and try to do something a little bit different than what I normally do. And I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I figured I'd give it a try, and I guess we'll see what happens. So as usual, when I'm working with driftwood, things don't always go as planned. This was the first top piece that I showed you guys, and I really wanted to make this piece work, but I couldn't do it just because I couldn't rip it quite long enough to get the length that I needed to make it work. And the reason is it looks long enough, but the problem is that about 6 inches of it, the wood is not in good condition. It's really lightweight, and it's not really the kind of quality that I want on this picture frame. So I would have to cut this piece to right here, which would make it too short to use. So I found this other piece that I like a lot better, and that's this piece right here. Now this is a solid piece of wood, and it's also got this natural engraving in it that I really like. So I'm going to use this as the top piece, and then I think, yeah, this is the other half, and I'm going to use this for the bottom piece. And I was originally going to use these two pieces as the sides, but you can see they're not very long, so I could make them work, but I found another piece that I like a lot better, and that's this one right here. So I ripped this down the middle. Now, this is a lot longer piece of wood, so I have a lot more options. And you know, as I'm laying this frame out, I want to be able to have some flexibility to move these pieces around and not run out of wood and be limited because the piece of wood isn't long enough. So anyway, this is the critical part of building the frame, is to lay all these pieces out and make everything balance out so that I can make this work. So I'm going to take my time and figure this thing out, and then after that I'm going to move on and install these pieces and get this thing done. So the frame's coming along good. I got a lot done yesterday. Most of the sanding and grinding is all done. And as you can see, you don't notice the plywood when you look at the frame from the front, but you do notice the plywood when you look at the frame from the side. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that between the plywood and the driftwood, there's a little bit of a crack in some places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to fill all those cracks in to make those disappear. And the other thing you'll notice is that the plywood is a slightly lighter color than the driftwood. Now it's important when people look at the frame from the side that they don't see the plywood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the plywood a slightly darker color than the driftwood to help make that disappear. And I mixed up this paint in my studio this morning, so here's a quick shot of that. So before moving on, I just want to check real quick to make sure the frame's going to fit around the painting. That way, if there's any additional sanding or grinding that needs to be done, I can do that now rather than after I paint the back and put the polyurethane on the front. So hopefully it fits. Well, it looks like it's gonna fit. So it's a nice hot day today. So with any luck, I'll get this thing all done and then I'll have to go find a wall to hang it up on. Okay, so the frame's all done. I've got the painting hanging inside it, and now it's hanging on my front porch where I normally take pictures of my paintings before I bring them downtown to show them. I don't know exactly where I'm going to take this painting yet, but I've got a few ideas, so I'm going to give it some thought. So next time you guys are out at the beach or the river or any place else they might have driftwood, and you see a piece that's bent or curved or twisted or just not straight in some way, and you think, man, I could never build a frame out of that. Well, I think now you can. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see you guys soon.